online piano and the online violin tutor. Today I'm going to take you through a violin tutorial of Joy to the World, and it's been taken from this book, which is called A Traditional Holiday and Christmas for Violin Book 1. It is a collection of 10 festive and Christmas songs with MP3 backing and performance tracks for violin. So that's each piece has all of those. And it is beginner level and upwards, and violin tab is included as well. So if you want to know how to play Joy to the World, then grab your copy of the book and let's get going. Okay, I'm going to start with the violin tab, which is on page 21. So if I just explain how the violin tab works, you've got the words, and the words will indicate to you the rhythm. So assuming that you guys know how this song goes and everything, but it's a fairly popular song, so you know most people know this song. And the numbers above those words refer to the finger numbers on the violin, and then the letters above those will refer to what string you're going to be on and when. So you use the words in combination with the fingers and what string, and that's going to give you the whole song. And that's how violin tab works. Violin tab is great if you can't read music, you're not so confident in reading music, or maybe you literally have just started the violin maybe a month or two ago, but you really still want to have a go at playing some Christmas pieces this year, you know, then violin tab is going to be great for you, and that's the whole reason why it's been included in this book. So you might also notice a lot of S's next to some of the words, and this is all explained in the front of the book, but S is short for stretch, and B, which isn't in this particular tab but it is in some of the other ones, B is short for back. Now what that means is that the first finger normally goes in its first finger place, as does the third finger, as does the fourth finger. I'll put a link in the description bar directly underneath this video to another video that I've done which shows you where to put the dot placements on the violin, so the exact measurements on where to put the dots for the first finger, third finger and the fourth finger if you want to do the fourth finger. But the second finger doesn't have a regular placement, so the second finger normally goes right behind the third finger, which I call stretched, so I've got S short for that, or it will go back, which is right next door to the first finger, and that's indicated with a B. So that doesn't always, so the stretch or the S in here doesn't always count for the second finger. It might be on some of the other fingers as well, but basically what it means is if you've got a stretched on the third finger, it just means that the third finger is going to be just a sort of another finger's gap, or if you had the next dot up from it. So it's just going to be slightly stretched. So if you've got imagine having the third finger down on the dot, if you put your fourth finger, if you jammed your fourth finger in right behind it, or closer to you, that's where your third finger is going to stretch to, if that makes sense. So it's the same with anything. If you've got back, then it'll just be back, one finger sort of gap back or stretch from where it normally is. So starting with the first line, if I'll take you just through a couple of lines of the Joy to the World, then you'll understand. So the first line is Joy to the World. So we're going to have a third finger on the A string. Then we've got a stretched second finger, which means the second finger is right behind or directly underneath the third finger, all still on the A string because it doesn't tell me to move to another string. There is one, World is open A, and then the Lord is come, so you've got a third finger on the D, second finger stretched, so it's right behind the third finger for Lord, and then is open for come. So Joy to the World. And that's pretty much it. I'll do another line. So let is open, earth is one on A, the first part of receive is one, second part of receive is another stretch two, and then her, same note, third finger for king. And that's pretty much it. That's it. It just carries on from there. After you've done that, it says in black, repeat all the above with no intro. After that, after you've played all the above again, then count 2 bars of 4, or just count to 8 if you want to, and then play what's beneath that. Now what I've actually done for this bit underneath is that I've transposed it a little bit higher. You'll notice it gives it a little bit of a lift in the music, but when I was doing the backing track, I gotta be honest, I couldn't resist transposing it a little bit higher, just because I just love this song so much, and it just sounds so so majestic and everything. So I just decided to transpose it a bit higher, which does cause slight problems when playing it on the violin, but I just wanted to do it. I just thought that it would be nicer just to have something a little bit more complicated if you got a really good sound and a much better backing track out of it than just keeping it exactly the same as it was. So I kind of toyed with that for a while, but I thought it was worth having it a little bit more complicated to get a better result. So the next part, where you've got joy to the world, the Lord is come, let earth receive, it sounds like it's the same, or it looks like it's the same as the top part, but it's different. So you've got a lot more stretched. So the third fingers are stretched as well. So it's gone into the key of E major for anybody that wants to know. So joy to the world. So it starts with an open E, and then you've got a stretched third finger. So remember me saying the third finger's on the dot. If you want it stretched, it's just going another finger gap above it. So if you sort of put your fourth finger down behind the third finger, that's where the third finger's got to stretch to. So joy is an open E, and then 2 is a stretched third on the A. The is a stretched second, just like we did a stretched second up here. World is 1. The on the next line is an open on A. Lord is another stretched third finger, which we've just done. And then is come is 2 stretched, and then 1 for come there. So that's it. You just keep going like that. So there are a lot of stretch notes. So you're just stretching the second fingers like you have been doing at the start, but then you just add in stretching the third fingers for pretty much all on the A and all on the D. So I think that's all that adds in extra, just stretching the third finger. So it is a little bit of a pain, and I do apologise for that, but it did make the backing track a lot better. And if you can nail this, you will thank me for it, because you will know that it does sound a lot better. So that's it with the violin tab. The sheet music, again, there isn't really anything too much more exciting on here, except for there's a couple of places where I've put the fourth finger for the E, which you should try and do. The reason why I've put the fourth fingers where I've put them is to save you crossing over to another string, and to save that kind of big open E resounding kind of ring that you get when you play an open E string. So for example, in bar 21, 22, bar 23 and 24, so you don't want to be moving from the third finger there on the D to an open E, because it's just, you've got to jump, you've got to jump 3 strings, 2 or 3 strings to get there. So if you did the fourth finger, then you've only got to jump over to the A string. And then it makes it so much easier to do that. So, you can do open E's. I'm not saying you can't do open E's, but you will get those string sounds in the middle. The tone won't sound as nice. The bow will sound very scratchy. It'll all sound very messy. So if you can put in a fourth finger for that E where I've put them, then it'll sound so much better. And the last note is a 4 or an open string. 4 if you want to put a little bit of vibrato on. Open string if you just want to make it nice and big and ringy. It's just completely up to you. I couldn't decide whether a 4 or a 4 for the E or an open E would be better. So I kind of left it as both for you to decide. So that's it with that tutorial. I hope it's helped. Thank you for watching. I'll put a link in the description bar underneath this video here to all of the separate links of all the tutorials that I've done. And like I said, I do them separately, so you don't have to go hunting for them or anything. And I'll put a link to the book and where you can get the book from and download and print that, etc. And yeah, I hope the tutorial's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.